right now on Justice.
I've known him through politics, as many Democrats have.
Damage control for Harvey Weinstein's cronies who can't make believe anymore.
I was shocked and appalled.
Yeah, right, Hillary. Just like you were with your husband. Tonight, I call out the liberal elitist establishment for decades of Hollywood hypocrisy. It's the opening statement you'll be talking about tomorrow. Plus, a Justice exclusive.
He's just the greatest. I mean, he's just the greatest, life-changing, transformational in every way.
In their first joint interview since the birth of their son, I sit down with first son Eric Trump and his wife Laura. It's your inside look at life inside the first family. And they ain't that much different than the rest of us.
We are true new parents, and babies don't sleep that much.
Wake up. Justice starts now.
Hello and welcome to Justice. I'm Jeanine Pirro. Thanks for being with us tonight. In this hour, my exclusive interview with Eric and Lara Trump, plus Mark Stein, Congressman Ron DeSantis, and so much more. But first, my opening statement. Don't you love it when those so-called social justice warriors, the ones who claim moral and ethical superiority over the rest of us, the ones who chastise us because of our core American values, are hoisted on their own petard? To intercede. Take those child rape cases from the Florida DA, where Epstein was facing hard time, to federal Easy Street, where he quickly got home monitoring. It could be you said nothing for 5 days because your experience with pedophiles goes deep. Like when you laughed about and destroyed a 12-year-old innocent girl who was raped by 2 adult men so severely that she was in a coma for days, leaving her barren and unable to have children. Hillary, 'twasn't misogyny that killed the beast, 'twas karma. And Hillary, you actually say this in another country as if we're not going to hear it.
We have someone admitting to being a sexual assaulter in the Oval Office. There has to be a recognition that we must stand against this kind of, action that is so sexist and misogynistic.
Hillary, the only sexual assaulter I know of in the Oval Office is your husband, the one who left his stain on the blue dress of a young intern in the White House. Are you still schizo? You know, Hillary, now that I think of it, both you and Harvey are a lot alike. Both of you addicted to a drug. Both of you love power, money, and domination. Weinstein wants to dominate Hollywood, and you want to dominate Washington. Weinstein didn't stop with you, though, also delivering $700,000 to that font of moral superiority, Barack Obama, who also took days to condemn Hollywood's open secret. Funny, none of them knew. Really, Barack. You had the FBI at your fingertips. Did you have them a little too busy going after conservatives and covering up Hillary's email scandal, too busy with politics to find a predator in their midst? And Michelle, you condemn women because we didn't listen to our inner voices and vote for your girlfriend Hillary. Where was your inner voice on the day your daughter got a job with Harvey? And Meryl Streep, another paragon of virtue, says she didn't know. And while she preaches to us at the Golden Globes about our president,
and this instinct to humiliate when it's modeled by someone in the public platform, by someone powerful. It filters down into everybody's life because it kind of gives permission for other people to do the same thing. When the powerful use their position to bully others, we all lose.
Meryl, you say you didn't know? How much has your best bud Harvey added to your bank account while you stood oblivious to the victimization of young women who want to be you? How many of those young women came to you for advice, and you arrogantly condescend to lecture the rest of America about our politics? And no surprise, though, your morals are nowhere in line with ours. You openly rise to applaud a child rapist, Roman Polanski.
The Academy congratulates Roman Polanski.
And then there's tough guy Robert De Niro. I thought he was a good fella until I heard him talk about our president.
He's a punk, he's a dog, he's a pig, he's a con, a bullshit artist, a mutt, thinks he's gaming society. Well, I'd like to punch him in the face.
You don't like Donald Trump and his politics? You call him every name in the book while you're steeped knee-deep in the dirty money of Harvey Weinstein and his cash? Bob, how many of his movies have lined your bank account? You're the punk, Bob. You're the pig. You're the thug. And maybe you're just taking your roles a bit too seriously.
Look at me. Never rat on your friends, and always keep your mouth shut.
Hey, Bob.
You talking to me? You talking to me? You talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you. You're the punk. You disgust me. Folks, Hollywood's been steeped in hypocrisy for decades. As the curtain goes up on the casting couch, a.k.a. the casting bed, the town that glorifies violence, murder, and rape is the same town where centuries-old rules of women sleeping for a job is kept quiet. Actors, the ones who need to read other people's words for a living and then convince themselves that they have the moral turpitude to pontificate to the rest of us on how we should act, try to tell us how to be. And by the way, it's not over yet, folks. There's more coming. It's not just adult women, it's human trafficking, it's child sex trafficking, it's real pedophilia in a town where there are no rules, where the truth is stranger than fiction, and where fiction is based on reality. It is time for the Department of Justice to get their act in gear, start a federal criminal investigation into Harvey Weinstein, his ongoing criminal activity that no doubt has crossed state lines and continents. And that's my open. Tell me what you think on my Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, hashtag Judge Jeanine. All right, joining me now to talk about all of this and more is author and columnist Mark Steyn. You know, Mark, I got to tell you, that's what I did for 30 years. I hate it when they use power and they victimize innocent victims. And this guy did it for all to see, and none of those phonies who pretend to tell us how we act as though we are inferior to them knew about it. When you've got 4 guys on the Weinstein board who resigned, 4 out of 9 in days, you know there's more coming. What do you think, Mark?
And I think that's the real issue here, Judge. This guy is an evil man, a monster, and his evil goes back to the dawn of the 1980s, the beginning of his career. I think that's the earliest claim by a woman to be attacked by him is 1981 or 82. But what's at issue is the fact that he was protected by all these glamorous Hollywood figures who now claim to know nothing about him. His own company priced in the value of an assaulted woman by saying that he'd have to pay a fine of 250 grand. That's in the contract. That's what that woman's body is worth to the Weinstein board that drew that up. And you said, the only thing I disagree with in your opening statement is you said 3 rape claims. I believe it's now up to 5. 20 minutes ago, I read of a British actress, Lisette Anthony, who's just told Scotland Yard she was raped by Weinstein. You said 2 continents. I think it's actually 3. There's a model in New Zealand. He did this everywhere. He did it at the Sundance Film Festival. He did it at Cannes. He did it at Toronto. He did it at the Ritz Hotel in Paris.
This is
he did it
an
everywhere.
international bully. And you know why I'm disappointed, Mark? I'm disappointed because the NYPD, which is a great police department, and they know that I love them. I worked with them when I was DA. They took a young girl, a young Italian want-to-be actress, wired her up. She went to them upset. The surveillance cameras see her running out of this place where she was with Harvey Weinstein. They wire her up. She does everything she's supposed to. They take the case to the Manhattan DA. After she speaks to Weinstein, she's got him dead to right. He says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I won't do it again. I'm used to doing that. I'm a famous guy." And the Manhattan DA, Cyrus Vance, says, "Oh, there wasn't enough. There wasn't enough."
Yeah. And I'm sorry about this, Judge, but I do think that is that's Banana Republic political corruption. This woman, this Italian woman, was twice traumatized. Yeah. The first time was when Weinstein attacked her and touched her breast, as she said. So she goes to the police and they wire her, so she has to go back and meet with him and do it all again. And then some dirty, stinking, rotten, corrupt prosecutor, having put her through that, won't actually take the case any further. And this is what is the real issue here. Until a week ago, this guy was still powerful enough to get NBC to kill jokes about what he'd done on Saturday Night Live. This guy's company is dead, you know, Judge. There's never going to be a film that says the Weinstein Company presents ever again, because that company is dirty. Going and giving your money, giving $8 to go and watch a Weinstein movie is like buying blood diamonds from the Congo or Liberia. That big glamorous Hollywood night out is paid for with physical assaults on young women all over the planet going back to 1982.
Mark Stein, there's more to come, and we're going to have you back. Thank you so much. And next, meet the newest member of America's First Family. I'll talk exclusively with his parents.
It changes your life. It changes your perspective. It changes everything. You see the attacks. You see the divisiveness.
Eric and Lara Trump are next up on Justice for the first time as mom and dad, and later. Last week, we introduced you to some of Washington's worst deep state insiders holding up the president's agenda. Well, guess what? We've got more. You can't miss them. Justice on a roll when we're on a roll. So, it's 31 days since he was brought into the world?
A month and 2 days, yeah. I can't believe it.
Are you tired yet?
Well, fortunately, you have great makeup artists here, but if you can tell, yes, we are true new parents, and babies don't sleep that much, as we're finding out.
Okay, so tell us about Luke. Tell us what you can about him. How much did he weigh, and how long was he? It's not tall, because they don't stand yet, right? Isn't that
not
the way
yet.
to do
No,
it?
he was 7 pounds, 6 ounces, 19.5 inches long, and he's already almost 10 pounds and 22 inches long now, so he's a growing boy, but blonde hair, like his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No questions mine. He eats a lot, too.
Yes. And, well, there is no question he's yours, because I visited, and he is you to the T.
Right.
But what is it like now? I mean, now that, you know, you two are kind of all around the globe. I mean, you're Eric Trump. You're Mrs. Eric Trump. You are the president's son, the president's daughter-in-law, and now your parents. How has your view of the world changed?
Well, you know, it's her birthday 2 days ago, and we were actually talking about this. I mean, if you look back at the 2 years that we've had, you know, you start with the campaign, then you get to you know, the primaries, and you get to election day, then you get to the inauguration, and then the last year, which has been amazing, in her pregnancy, and now little Luke. And you know, this kid is so special to us. I mean, hey, by the way, I always thought I was going to be the person who taught him so much, and I will. But honestly, I think he's taught me at this point more than I've taught him. I mean, there's something really special about bringing a little person to the world, and it changes your life, it changes your perspective, it changes everything.
So you see the world through his eyes?
Yeah, there's innocence, right? I mean, you watch these maniacs every single day out there. You see the attacks, you see the divisiveness in this country, you see the bad people, you see sensational news, and I mean, just everything that we all talk about all day, every day.
Right.
And then you get home and you hold this little, you know, 7-pound ball of love, and you know, all he wants to do is sleep and eat and smile, and you know.
And Mama is responsible for the eating part, in the sense that you're doing it naturally.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. It's sort of incredible that the human body not only provides you with the immense love that you naturally and immediately have for another human you just met, but that you can provide everything they need. And you know, I didn't know how I'd feel about all of it, and it's been such a blessing. And like Eric said, I mean, nothing can prepare you for this, and it totally changes your life. And everyone said that to me, and I said, yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's true. It's so true, and it's changed in the best possible ways, and we're so lucky.
Well, it's changed your life in the sense that you now have this additional person in your lives. And Eric, I understand that you come home and you go reach for the baby, even if he's sleeping, for little Luke, as you call him.
Even if I say, don't touch him, he just went to sleep, he has to pick him up.
You can't help yourself. I mean, you can't. They're so beautiful. They're so pure. They're so innocent.
I knew you when you were a little boy. I feel like your mother sometimes, and that, you know, no offense, Ivana, but I'm so proud of you as a father right now. This is so exciting.
Yeah.
And you call him Little Luke.
Call him Little Luke.
Were you going to call him Eric?
You know what? We went back and forth, and she ultimately won. So it's Eric Luke Trump, but we're calling him Luke, and he's just the greatest. I mean, he's just the greatest, life-changing, transformational in every way. And you know, she always joked that I don't know how I could ever love anything more than our dogs. We love our dogs. You know this,
you
right?
You understand, Jeanine. We love our dogs so much.
I think we might have a new #1 in the house.
Well, we have 3 in the house now, is what it is.
You know what I love? My favorite story is that you were going to name the baby, once you knew he was a boy, Charlie, but go ahead, finish the line.
The dog took it.
The dog has the name Charlie.
They said, can we have a dog and a child name the same thing? No, can't do that.
What are you staying home more? Do you find that you want to stay home more? Do you have that maternal pull that a lot of us felt? I mean, I did when I was working.
I mean, it is a definite balancing act when you are a mom that also works. And, you know, he's only been here a month, and so I'm slowly transitioning back to work. And I do go to work several days a week, but I do find that when I'm at work, all I think about is him. And then when I'm home, all I think about is being at work. So it's a balance, but it's incredible that you want to be with another human. They can't even talk to you yet.
Right.
And I think we're very lucky that I am able to sort of stay home at least for a little bit right now. And everybody says this is the time you need to cherish, and they change so quickly. And so we're trying to do our best to take it all in.
Oh, and you are taking it in. But Eric, let me ask you this. You know, since your dad became president, the world has been, even from my distance, I mean, the world has become more vicious, you know, the attacks more vituperative. How do you plan to prepare for the media and the attacks, not just on you, but now on this innocent child? How will you react?
No, I think probably the exact same way my parents did to us. I mean, I had the greatest parents in the world, and they shielded us from it. It was incredibly important. They kept us away from the spotlight. There's nothing nice about it. I mean, again, you see the attacks every single day. You see the 24-hour news cycle, which was largely responsible for a lot of it. You see social media, where everybody now has a platform that they never had before, and they can stand behind either a little device or a computer or whatever and air all their dirty laundry free of any kind of repercussions. I mean, you see how nasty it's been. And listen, children are delicate. People are delicate, but children are especially delicate, and I think you have to shield them from that. And my parents did an amazing job with that. I mean, we didn't have the limelight before that. We stayed out of the limelight. We wanted nothing to do with the papers or magazines or TV. I mean, it wasn't until really The Apprentice, you know, much later on in our lives, where we started coming into it a little bit, you know, at a time. And then obviously, throughout the presidential race got, thrown into it.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
You have to shield them from that because it is a very, very tough, dark world at times.
Definitely, definitely. So, as I see you, the happy couple now, with little Luke, as you call him, will there be another Trump? I have to ask.
Jeanine, we just had this one. He's ready.
See, now you're exasperated. He's smiling over here.
He's ready for number 2.
I'm ready. It's been a month, Jane. Come on. I mean, what are we waiting for here?
Women, I think we get to maybe decide a little bit when we're ready for the next one.
Yeah, I think she has something to say.
She's been such an incredible mother, though.
She's an incredible woman.
Listen, the warmth, and I've always known this, and I think I was maybe a little bit more excited about the kid originally than you, and honestly, it's the warmth and the love, and she's beyond.
She
She's
has
beyond.
blossomed into this role immediately. Eric Trump, Laura Trump, parents, thank you for being with us tonight.
Thanks, Jeanine.
And Washington's worst still ahead tonight. Plus, I'll talk live with Congressman Ron DeSantis. And next, if you were with us last week, you know you're not going to want to miss round 2 of our powerful, political, pugnacious panel. Dan Bongino and Chris Hahn are back and standing by to debate, if you call it that. Justice rolls on in a moment.
Right now, authorities are working on about 300 missing persons cases, but they do not expect the death toll to be anywhere near that high. Now, so far, the fires have claimed 38 lives, 100,000 people have been forced from their homes, and nearly 6,000 homes and buildings have been destroyed. An estimated 10,000 firefighters are battling the blazes, and despite their efforts, the fires are said to stretch 100 miles wide. In Somalia, rescuers working to free people trapped under the rubble of a hotel. It was destroyed by a truck bomb in the nation's capital Saturday. 20 people were killed and 15 injured. So far, no one has claimed responsibility. I'm Robert Gray. Now back to Justice with Judge Jeanine.
Welcome back to Justice. Time now for the political panel. Former Secret Service agent and best-selling author Dan Bongino and former aide to Senator Chuck Schumer, radio talk show host Chris Hahn. All right, guys, I'm not going to ask you if Harvey Weinstein, what he did was wrong. I'm not going to ask you why no one said anything. I'm not going to ask you why he only donated to Democrats and But I am going to ask you to listen to this two sounds. We're going to play them right now. One is from 30 Rock, and the other is, let's see, Seth MacFarlane. Take a listen.
I'm not afraid of anyone in show business. I turned down intercourse with Harvey Weinstein on no less than 3 occasions out of 5.
Congratulations, you 5 ladies no longer have to pretend to be attracted to Harvey Weinstein.
So, when people like Meryl Streep and all of these women and Hillary Clinton say they didn't know, you can't be any more public than saying that, because I'm telling you, if there was no truth to it, Harvey would have sued them the way he gets involved every time the New York Times or any other magazine threatened to do an expose on him. Chris, you go first.
He's a creep, and everybody who helped cover him up is complicit. And they should be ashamed of themselves, frankly. I think this is disgusting. And I think that as a father of daughters and as somebody who has always supported strong women, I think that we've got to be on the lookout for this kind of behavior in every industry, and Hollywood cannot be exempt from it at all.
Well, let me ask you this. What about the fact that Hollywood, unlike most other industries, this seems to be indigenous to the whole place, but more than that, that these are the people who actually stand up and talk down to the rest of America as though for some reason they have the right and the higher moral ground from which to lecture us?
Well, look, they just have a platform for a given time, and they're trying to express their views, just like Dan and I are going to do tonight on your show.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dan.
Well, listen, this may be the only time Chris and I agree about anything ever. He is a creep. The guy's clearly a loser. But what bothers me about this whole thing, Judge, is it's clear now that Hollywood is a moral and ethical vacuum. It's a pigsty of semi-values, because there are no values in Hollywood. But here's the kicker on this story that's driving me crazy. I know the Clintons. I worked with them. You can't tell me with a straight face that someone in their staff, if not the Clintons themselves, did not have an inkling of an idea that this guy was the pig he turned out to be. And the fact that they did nothing about it and still took his money. Matter of fact, I was at Mrs. Clinton's birthday party at the Roseland where this guy was celebrated like he was part of the family. It's kind of a disgrace. And the Clintons have some accounting to do for that.
Go ahead, Chris.
Dan, you know what? If we're going to hold every elected official accountable for every creep that's donated to them, there are going to be bodies on both sides of the aisle that we're going to be very disgusted with. Yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
Time out. We're going under the hood for review here. That's not what I said. You're right. I stipulate that point. I've run for office. I've probably taken donations from someone who was an idiot down the line, too. I'm stating that someone on that staff likely knew about the behavior of Weinstein. These are not stupid people, the Clintons, nor their staffer. You can't tell me with a straight face no one had an idea that this guy was
Let me tell you something, Chris. Stop with the this guy did it, that guy did it. We're talking about Weinstein. Millions of dollars to the Democrats, millions of dollars to the people who stand up and lecture the rest of us. This was an open secret. We're talking about women, young women, preying on the most vulnerable, women who wanted a job, a career, who were hoping to make it big. And this dirtbag pig imposed himself on them. And then the DA in Manhattan says it's not enough. All you had to do was turn on that tape and another Democrat turn on that tape and say to the jury, now go deliberate.
Well, Judge, you're right. It's horrible. It's disgusting. It's almost as bad as Billy Graham Jr. supporting a guy after he said he grabbed women by the you-know-what. So, you know, it is what it is.
Let me tell you something.
There's a lot of hypocrisy to go around here.
Hard evidence, Chris. Don't mix this one up.
Hard evidence.
We're talking about hard evidence on a tape of a victim setting up the defendant, where the defendant says, be quiet, Chris. The defendant says it's not a he says, she says. She says and he says exactly what she said, he said. Now cut it out. This is proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
He said it himself.
Chris, hold on here, too. Let's be clear on this. There's a big difference between a private conversation where, granted, I'll give you that, the conversation was totally inappropriate between Trump and Billy Bush at the time. There's a huge difference between that, talking about grabbing women by the you-know-what, and actually grabbing women by the you-know-what, which is what Bill Clinton did.
And saying I do it all the time. And actually saying I'm famous. I'm used to doing it. I'm sorry. I won't do it again. Give me that case any day of the week. I'll convict this guy 56 times.
Damn right.
I agree.
All right, now let's move on.
I agree. But let me just say, I agree. But the evangelicals around this country still supporting somebody who totally said
Let's talk about health care. Now, what we've got now with health care is we've got ending the Obamacare subsidies to the insurance companies, and now the Democrats are saying, well, we're going to sue for payments. What do you say, Chris, in 20 seconds?
I say Matthew 25 says that what you do unto the least of them, you do unto Christ. And this president is putting people out on the streets with their health care who need it.
Dan?
Judge, this is fascinating. You now have people like Chris quoting the Bible while arguing for a taxpayer-funded bailout of the health insurance companies that people like Chris bashed for the last, 20 or 30 years? These guys are total hypocrites. They have no principles at all. They'll say anything to advance a political point. He's actually arguing for a bailout.
Here's the thing. And some people on the right is I've actually read the Bible and I know what Jesus would do in this situation.
I've actually read the court decisions. Everybody stop. I'm going to end this. Guys, courts have already ruled that payments to insurance companies and subsidies are illegal. So take it up with the courts. Dan, Chris, bye. Some questions I want answered tonight by Attorney General Jeff Sessions. I'm talking about it next with Congressman Ron DeSantis. Don't miss it. You're entitled to answers, and I'm going to get them sooner or later. Welcome back to Justice. Joining me now, Republican Florida Congressman Ron DeSantis. Congressman, thanks so much for joining me tonight. Now, You were on a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and I'm going to get to that in a little bit because my audience and I are chomping at the bit to find out what the deal is with that woman. But before I get to that, a few weeks ago, I had Congressman Jason Chaffetz on, and without going through the whole transcript of what happened, Congressman Chaffetz said that when he was a congressman, before he left, when he was with government oversight and reform, he spoke to Attorney General Jeff Sessions, and he actually visited him, and he said it was the most frustrating discussion he had ever had, and he asked him about IRS, Fast and Furious, and the Clinton email scandal, and what the Attorney General was willing to do, you know, the new Attorney General under President Trump. And Chaffetz said, I didn't see the Attorney General willing to let Lady Justice administer justice, and he said he basically told me he wasn't going to pursue anything on those major cases. How can the Attorney General of the United States tell a sitting congressman that he's not going to pursue justice because a Democrat is involved or because it involves another administration? And are some people above the law in this country?
Well, I'll tell you, Judge, first, great opening statement. You hit the nail right on the head on that one. It's very frustrating because as we sit here today, you know, your viewers know about the IRS targeting scandal, and yet the House, when Chaffetz was chairman, we held her in contempt of the Congress. Right. And yet what has happened? Nobody has been held accountable at all in the IRS targeting scandal. We know the Clinton email scandal, obviously Hillary's conduct, but what about Loretta Lynch? What about Comey and his memos? There are just so many things that need a thorough investigation.
What are you guys doing about them? You tell my viewers, my audience, what are you guys doing? You're a congressman. What are you doing?
So we actually on the Judiciary Committee met with Attorney General Sessions and the rest of the leadership in the Justice Department relatively recently, within the last month, and we raised all those issues. Republicans on the Judiciary Committee have formally asked Attorney General Sessions to appoint a special counsel to deal with the fallout from the Clinton email investigation. We know that that was not handled on the level, and the American people deserve answers. As of this moment, they have not been willing to appoint a special counsel. And it is my sense, although they didn't say this outright, that there's a hesitancy to look backwards and they're more interested in looking forward. The problem with that, as you suggest, Judge, is that you have some people in that prior administration who've gotten away with some pretty bad conduct. And just even think right before President Trump was inaugurated, you had the leaking of the FISA information against Michael Flynn. That's a felony on its face.
Everybody is sitting in their chairs listening, saying, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? What is the president going to do about it? Why is Jeff saying what? Look, when I was a prosecutor, every crime I dealt with was a crime that occurred in the past. My brain didn't indicate that there was a crime occurring tomorrow, and I was going to interrupt it unless it was an attempt or a conspiracy for the future. What I'm saying is, of course, there are crimes from the past. And Jeff Sessions issues a statement, Lois Lerner, we're not going to prosecute her. What is going on? Is the deep state running things?
That's why we've requested the special counsel, because I think they have to look at these things. And it's also frustrating when you look at some of the bureaucracy, the leaking that's been leaking for political purposes to damage the president. That's really been unprecedented. We've had leaks in the past, but not weaponized leaks in this way.
All right,
and
let me
yet,
ask you
to this day, no one's been indicted for any of that.
20 seconds. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, you had a hearing this week, just like you said you would?
We did, and we found out that Imran Awan has been working from time to time while employed by Debbie Wasserman Schultz from Pakistan for months at a time. Remember, he was transferring terabytes worth of data from the House of Representatives. We think he was transferring it to people in Pakistan. This thing is getting bigger, Judge. I appreciate your attention to it. I think you're going to see some more fireworks out of the criminal case very soon because the wife and Imran are on the outs, and so I think she's going to testify against him.
Good. I hope so. Ron DeSantis, that's good to hear. Thanks for keeping us up on this one. All right, they're standing in the president's way. Meet some of the worst of Washington next. Last Last week, you met some of Washington's worst right here. Roadblocks to getting things done for America. Tonight, former DOJ official J. Christian Adams is here. All right, Christian, thanks so much for being here. Now, what I want to know is, why are these people still working? Why is Jeff Sessions and the Department of Justice, which should be loaded with people who want to prosecute, not doing what they should be doing?
Look, Jeff Sessions is not the problem. It's all the swamp creatures underneath him. It's the career leftovers from the Obama era who were implementing Obama policies, who are standing in the way of prosecuting the IRS abuse, standing in the way of prosecuting voter fraud. These same people who ran the department under Holder are still effectively running it under Trump.
Oh, so why aren't they gone? Why aren't they fired? Are they civil service?
Yes, they are mostly civil service. Some are another class of civil service. You can move them right out. But the problem is, some of the top people that have been brought in don't have the stomach for a fight. The president has a stomach for a fight. The president wants to implement his policies, but the department has a lot of institutionalists, people who think that the department is worthy, and they didn't pay any attention to the elections in November.
Okay, so if we've got these Obama, these Clinton holdovers, and you're saying there are people in there who don't have the gut for a fight, and I assume you're talking about Jeff Sessions, I assume you're talking about Tillerson, then even if they are civil service, can't we move them?
Yeah, Sessions isn't the problem. Yes, the civil service people.
If I got somebody in my department when I was DA, different level, same concept, I move them the heck out.
Right, but the department has an immense inertia. It's not that easy. But you can do stuff, Judge. There's something called the Senior Executive Service, SES. There's people all throughout the federal government. All you have to do is give them 2 weeks notice, 3 weeks notice, and say you're going to go work in manure studies in North Dakota. Nothing against North Dakota. But the point is, they have the power to do it if they have the fight to do it, if they have the willingness to make the moves that this president ran on of getting the swamp out of Washington.
Okay, so I got a guy. Let's talk about Andrew McCabe. Last week we talked about Andrew McCabe. He gets, I think it was $675,000 from Terry McAuliffe, the governor of Virginia, who gives it to his wife, who's running with Hillary, right? And Andrew McCabe is in charge with the Hillary email scandal, right, for the FBI. What the heck is this guy doing in the FBI?
Well, and he's going to the swearing in of the new FBI director, along with James Comey and Mueller, and Trump can't even go. Look, the swamp is still running the show in huge sections.
Under the SES law, this law that you'd send him to North Dakota to study manure.
Right, and that's what it takes, is guts, to move people out like McCabe, whose wife is connected to McAuliffe financially. Money went into her pocket, which is his pocket, and those are the kind of people who elected Trump don't trust.
Okay, and you know what? Virginia state law allows a candidate to keep money. So whatever of that $750,000 that McCabe got from McAuliffe, who's friends with Clinton, whose husband was investigating Clinton, she can keep, correct?
Right, under Virginia election law, that's right.
What are we going to do, Christian? Look, Donald is working, the president is working 24/7. What are we doing with Koskinen? This guy should be out of the IRS.
Yeah, this is a guy who ran the IRS targeting effectively, defended it, still defends it, contempt of Congress, and he still gets a federal government paycheck. They have been unwilling to impeach him in Congress. The people who can do something about it are in the administration.
All right, J. Christian Adams, we're staying on this one. And ladies and gentlemen, you know anyone who's in the swamp, send it to us. Thanks for being with us tonight. We'll be right back. Before we leave you tonight, remember, friend me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Judge_Jeanine. Now, that's it for us tonight. Thanks so much for watching. But next week, I'm going to be back, same time, same place, same channel, but different location, so not the same place. Justice is going to be live from Los Angeles. Watch out. I'm bringing my cuffs. They may have citizens arrest there. There's no such thing as a deep state there. I can make a citizen's arrest. Greg Gutfeld is next. You want to hear really funny stuff? Listen to Greg. See you next week from L.A., maybe, if I make it.